Good morning, traders. Welcome back to another live stream here. Happy Monday, March 17th. If you are new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Before we jump onto the charts, start scoping out the market, seeing if we can't get involved. Make sure you read what's on the screen. Trading is risky. Most traders do lose money. If you trade, you're probably going to lose all your money. I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Nothing you see here or anywhere else is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. This is for entertainment purposes only. Also read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links in my content. All of that down below the video in the description. Let's hop right into it. We are pushing right off this open, man. We are pushing off the open, breaking prior day high, breaking overnight high, following a bullish close on Friday. Let's hop out to the daily. We are here on Topstep X. This is the Project X platform. I am copy trading across 4 accounts right now. I am locked in on ES here. We are on the micro ES chart. This is the daily chart. Just taking a look and seeing, what these daily closures look like. This gives me a much higher time frame reference, but really I do like to look at the price action, within the last few days to few weeks. Just kind of take a look at what we are looking at here. And you can see what happened on Friday. We did have, finally a little bit of a bullish turn after a lot of down days and then some choppy consolidation here. Not completely surprised, like we talked about, right? Pretty major line in the sand right here, and lines in the sand from back over here, tested multiple times. This is interesting. So now today we are opening up to the upside, cracking above prior day high, something that has not become a frequent occurrence over the last few weeks. Most candles have just continued to break prior day low without breaking prior day high, but we are back above overnight high and prior day high, pushing to the upside pretty aggressively right off the open. So as you guys know, I like to give the market a few minutes to open up. I don't like to get involved right in the first. Let me just reset my chart here. I don't like to get involved right in the first, couple minutes of the open. But let's go ahead and mark this 9:30 a.m. open. We had some news this morning. Boom. Right there. Yeah, this is aggressive. This is really aggressive right off the bat here. Interesting to see. We are breaking to the upside. We are well above VWAP. I don't have prior day session VWAP, but we would be above that. We have overnight high and prior day session high here. And then I do have prior day's volume profile, and I've got, a few other days just kind of sitting on there. But I've been marking out prior day's volume profile, value area high, volume point of control, value area low, and then, of course, overnight low and prior day low. But, yeah, this is pushing to the upside really aggressively. I don't have much marked above. We have the high back here from, what is that going to be, Wednesday of last week, the 12th? Let's take a look at some potential resistance zones up above price, where we might find some sellers if we continue to push. That's what I'm looking for right now, just zooming out on this chart. Also going to utilize volume profile over here to help me out with that. I've really liked utilizing volume profile here on the US indices, but this is just an obvious level of structure. I will say not a whole lot of volume traded here, not a massive level whatsoever. I mean, next area would be way up here that was tested multiple times before a large sell-off from this area we kept returning to and chopping around. That would be a hell of a move out of the day. That would be a really big push to the upside. So I don't know that we see that, but we are coming into this high right here, tested from last week, and then previous week low where we found some buyers, bounced back up before an impulsive move to the downside. We did slice right through it on the downside here. So again, not really an important level here. Obviously a lot of volume traded down here through these levels, through these price points. But interested to see where we go from here. Do we get a retest around yesterday's high, overnight session high, and then maybe look for a long? Or is this thing just going to start to take off and run? But I'm going to watch this on the 1-minute chart. Not going to do anything wild. It's Monday. We do have large red folder news, major economic news later this week. We have FOMC, and it is rollover week. We are getting ready to roll over in futures contracts. So, but in any event, I'm watching this movement to the upside. I'm really interested. I'd like to find a way to get involved. Just on the preface is that this is lining up to the upside. Obviously, higher time frame move has been a lot of consolidation down here, and we can certainly see. Sorry, I'll zoom out one more time. We could certainly potentially see a wick to the upside right before a continuation lower. That classic, pull back up, take everybody out, take all the weak shorts out, and then continue to the downside and start to see some aggressive selling, later into the week. That's a possibility, but that's just higher time frame speculation. Right here, right now, I'm watching this on the 1-minute chart, above VWAP, above all of yesterday's prior day's range, Friday's range, cracking to the upside, strong bullish movement, approaching what I would say is a small resistance zone, but nothing crazy. Would like to see if we start to pull back down. Do we just sell right back off? Do we come all the way back down to VWAP? Or do we find some buyers around overnight high, prior day high, and look to continue this move to the upside and we get some clean break and retest structure? But this is a pretty decent sized move to the upside. 9:43 a.m. Eastern. Coming up on that 15-minute opening range. Wouldn't mind that setting before I try to pull anything here. But I don't have too much from up here. I would definitely need some form of a pullback and then continuation. I think checking this area out is going to be in store really quickly here. Yeah, a lot of liquidity right above here at the 5670s. Really right at these highs, so we may crack through that and come and check this level out. Maybe up towards the 80s, the 680s in ES. Interesting. Just getting a feel for what this market's looking like this morning with you guys. But appreciate you hopping on. If you're here with me, smash the like button. Subscribe if you want to chat for next time. Links down below to all your favorite prop firms. Code RDF. Tradeify straight to funded. I got a 5-pack loaded up with those guys that I've really just been working some NQ scalping on. And I've been utilizing this Topstep X copy trading straight from the TradingView account for live trading. It's just a little bit cleaner. You're able to see executions a lot better than if I'm bouncing between Tradeovate and TradingView, but I'll be live trading those with you guys soon. So here we go, pushing to the upside, continuing to break highs through that level of liquidity. At the 70s, showing a lot of strength up here. Again, I don't know about buying it from up here. I don't have a way to buy this from up here outside of just a tiny pullback for continuation, which I'm not going to take. I'm going to look for some kind of a pullback and then buyers to be found and a continuation, or at least some indication that we might continue. That's my play for this morning. Not going to buy this breakout to the upside, but seeing some strength. Call for shorts. I think you got a pretty clean way to structure risk up here. If you really wanted to look at this back to the downside, some overextension right off the bat this morning, and maybe just a quick pullback. But it's a little bit counter for me. On this overnight session. This pre-market move to the upside, pull back down to this area of high volume. Buyers found, pull back down towards VWAP. Didn't really hit it. Didn't really come back down to this area, which would have been nice. And then a continuation. So yeah, right down to this area of high volume. This is prior high broken in an uptrend. So this looks clean, man. I don't know that we come back down on this. This would be the area that I'd be watching. Maybe give us a way to structure risk, but this is strong right off the open, man. And wouldn't have given me any way to jump in, right? I'm not just buying these second or third 1-minute candle off the open. So this might be wait a little bit for some structure to form. That's what I'm going to be looking at. But again, appreciate you guys hopping on here. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. I'm going to be rolling out a bunch more long form videos. I've been getting a lot of good feedback on that. talking strategy, mindset, risk management, different tools that I utilize, prop firms, you know, hot topics, things that are changing across different prop firms, a whole bunch of that stuff, man. So excited to have you guys with me on YouTube. I'm going to be living on YouTube coming up. And again, if you are trading with prop firms, you want to check out any of the paid stuff that I use, it's down below. RDF works for all your favorite firms, especially Tradeify, 35% off the 50K straight to funded, no eval account. Along with that, you can check out Bookmap and TradeZella. Same deal. Links down below. So let's see what we get here. Let's see what we get out of there. Starting to get that pullback. Interesting. Right at. Throw a line off this bad boy just for fun, so we know where this March 12th high is coming off of. Let's just do this right here. Just throw a secondary line up there. Zoom out, reset. Getting some sellers. Again, I'm not going to buy the pullback. I'm going to buy the strength after the pullback. That's what I'd be looking for. If we continue this move, I'm looking down around this level. Why? You can see it marked over here. Overnight session high, prior day's high, value area high, somewhere down into this area. We could easily, I think, get back down into the mid 30s, back down around VWAP. But I'm going to look for something along these lines today. Timing is going to be really important here because we do have a way to go. I could see us easily pulling back anywhere from just not even tapping this level all the way deep down and checking out VWAP. You know, so having a 25-point area where I'd potentially be okay with price pulling back down even further from where we're at right now is a little bit tough. It could be a wide stop loss, wide take profit play, or something that I try twice, but let's just watch how this develops. Again, anything from up here without a pullback at least to hit this, I'm going to be cautious. I think we could easily see something down into this area, so I'm going to be cautious just buying after a pullback right to this level, but that might be all we get. Glad I didn't buy into any of this breakout. I wouldn't be too happy if I was buying up here for a push higher on this selling pressure, but let's kind of see what we get out of this. Nothing crazy on Bookmap. We do have some liquidity down at 43. Yeah, a little bit deeper into this area, but not a whole lot on Bookmap that's screaming at us. You know, no massive 200, 500,000 lot orders down below price. If I scroll back up, we do have quite a bit on the book. Back up at 693. Yeah, way up here. Got quite a bit up there. That's sticking out. Yeah, again, guys, waiting for a pullback on this. I'm not going to be antsy, not going to jump into anything. It's Monday. We got a lot of news coming out later this week. We got rollover that's going to be taking place, just really causing some wildness. Would like to find a way in. Would like to grab a win with you guys. We finished off Friday with 2 back-to-back wins. It was really clean. I'm waiting for, you know, one of my key levels to be tested, one of these areas to be tested. I bet if I throw an anchored VWAP off of NYSE session, I'm probably testing that right now. Yeah, we're finding some buyers right there. I'm not going to run that on a chart because, as I just said, I kind of have a feel for where that is without even having it. Yeah, I'm not going to take it from up here. There's certainly a buy. This could be it right here for you. You say, there's my pullback. Here's the strength. Stop loss below this level. We come back down through. I think we're continuing lower. But I don't want to miss this move to the upside, and I'm going to go 1-to-1 right back to these highs or even higher. So first trade that, I'm not going to take, that I'm looking at right here, would just be on an arbitrary pullback, not even tapping this area, and this looks like it might pay. That's something you could easily grab a 1-to-1 on. You could really hang on to it, but the way that you see me be trading, just more frequently, right around that 1-to-1 level, not shooting for these larger moves. This market has just been very, very back and forth, very dicey, and not holding on to stuff and being too greedy has been very helpful. But yeah, that's the pullback and then continuation of the upside. Let's see what happens up here. Line in the sand right here, and then some liquidity up above at all the way up to 93s, man. So this thing may just go. This may just go. Yeah, we come back down on this really aggressively, I'm definitely going to wait for a pullback. But this may be it. This may be our little retest that we're going to get. Not of a high broken, really of not much. Just a quick wick down and then a continuation of the upside. So let's see. Let's see what we get. Stay positive. Stay patient. We know what we're getting into, right? Controlling our risk. Wait for your setup to come. If you're here watching with me, appreciate you being here. Hanging out live on YouTube almost every damn day. And if you're new, hop in the free Discord. Smash the like button. I run a 100% free trading community as well as being live on here free almost every day. I don't claim to be the best trader in the world. Don't claim to have all the big payouts and be on the leaderboards. But I'll show you how and what I do free every day. Got quite a bit of experience in the markets. I'm happy with my performance. Max funded, taking payouts. Waiting for one to hit my account still that I just took. But happy to show you what I do. If you find some value in that, that's awesome. You say that guy sucks, I'm going to fade him. I hope that you make money. Back up to these highs, man. That might be it for the pullback. That's looking like it. We're going to challenge the session highs. Look like we want to keep pushing this thing. You could take a breakout to the upside with a pretty wide risk structure on something like this. I'm definitely not taking that type of trade. But that was strength right after tapping NYSE session VWAP. Could definitely have grabbed a few points on something like this. I'd probably be waiting for that second, bullish candle to buy. Not a whole lot of movement. Maybe you're approaching a 1-to-1 at this point. But, no retest down here. No retest. Not yet. Yeah, this thing looks like it wants to go. We come back down through that 1 minute low. I think we're definitely pulling back lower, and I'll be waiting for even more structure, right? We will now have this happen, and that's a lot different than the first pullback and then looking for strength, right? So now, we're going to have some downtrend kind of breaking of this initial structure, and I'm going to be waiting for maybe a little bit of a deeper pullback. Something, if we continue this, something to form, and then a break to the upside and continuation might be in store. So we'll wait. We'll stay patient. I still think this thing might break and run. In which case, I don't have a trade. I just don't have a setup on this. But it's making the case that we want to move higher. We're just almost a half hour into the open. I could see this pulling back down to this area of high volume, taking everybody out before potentially continuing back up. I definitely don't want to buy from up here. Not in my playbook. You want to get aggressively short, maybe after we crack these highs, check out the 80s or 90s. You could look for something like that. Also not in my playbook. So we'll see. See what kind of setups we get. See what ES has for us today. NQ pushing to the upside, YM pushing to the upside. Very similar structure out of NQ as per usual. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait and see on this one. Definitely gonna have to wait and see on this one. Checking out the boys in Discord. If you're not in the free Discord, feel free to hop in. I'll throw that in the chat. Boom. I see you guys chatting, but I'm just gonna check Discord because I had a couple things pop up. Oh, what's up, guys? On top of this, it is rollover week. Survive for sure. Wishing everybody the greatest week. How do I enter prop firm account winner? How do you enter the prop firm giveaway? I'm running a giveaway right now on X. Stay tuned. I'm gonna be running giveaways everywhere coming up soon. Real soon. There's gonna be a lot of giveaways on this live. But right now, if you go to my Twitter, links are everywhere. It's Real Deal Zach as well on Twitter. You can enter, no purchase necessary. Diamond got long. Very nice, brother. Very nice. Got long on a breakup of MES. Beautiful. Beautiful trade there, man. Can't be mad with that. Low volume. YM at the open, like a third of what I've seen. Could be due to FOMC. Price action going sideways. Yeah, absolutely. So we have FOMC coming up on Wednesday. This is why I like to read these. Good comments. Good chatter. As I'm waiting for either a pullback or a break above and some more structure, we can kind of take a look at news for the week. This is forexfactory.com. You can tell I come from Forex. You could use Financial Juice, any of the other financial sites. This is what I look at for financial news. We have red folder news. We had red folder news this morning, 8:30. This is what we have eyes on later this week. 2 p.m. FOMC. That's the rate coming out right there. And then the conference afterwards. This is a major market mover. I would be very, very cautious. I will not be trading, into that unless you're looking to YOLO something. I won't be looking to trade into that unless I'm doing some wild movement. But we want to be cautious of that. And what can happen, what the gentleman in Discord's commenting on is, a lot of times when we have something really massive like this, really big market mover, maybe it's FOMC, even unemployment is a pretty big one, but maybe it's NFP. A lot of times we see consolidation. We see kind of anticipation through market participants before this, and that can generate some choppy conditions. It can generate some just kind of slow, low volume, back and forth movements where the market says, well, we got a massive, number coming out, and I want to take that into consideration before I position myself in these markets. So a lot of times we just kind of get that chop. We just kind of get that slow moving back and forth, consolidation, rangy movement. So that's absolutely possible. We could see that. We could see that this week. So, but again, that's forexfactory.com. I think you should definitely be at least aware of financial news events. Even if you're not going to say, I think price is going to go up or down. I think, interest rates are going to affect the market this way. At the very least, the bare minimum, even if you're purely technical, and I'm very, very technical, you want to say at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, there's probably going to be a big candle that comes out. Probably going to be a lot of volatility, and it's probably going to continue through that 2:30 p.m. press conference. And I want to be aware of that, and I probably don't want to trade through that. If I do, I'm going to acknowledge the risk that I'm taking and maybe structure my trades and size down in a way that's appropriate, but you want to know about it. If you don't know about it, you're trading and everything's fine, you're having a great day, and all of a sudden, wild death wick comes out of nowhere and slips you, 10 points. So, being aware of financial news events, right? Red folder news, we don't have to be surprised when candles happen. I think it's silly when, anybody who's been in the market for any amount of time isn't aware and, is all mad after they get taken out on news. Like, know what you're getting yourself in for, accept the risk, and, either decide to stay out or put the trade on and, and deal with it. Pulling back down on this, so we got a little bit of this double top action forming up here, man. Buyers did not want to take it higher. We get down below this low, I think we are pulling back down much deeper. I'm probably not going to look to get involved until we get down around VWAP and then have some price action and structure form to the upside. If we are just going to pull back down this far and then come back through this area of high volume, back through these highs, I think we are going to continue higher. But we're at decision time on the chart. Right? This is about as much as I'd like to let it come down if I was long. We come right back up on this. I think that's pretty clean price action and structure to the upside. And we break this high, I think we are going to move higher. So decision point. We're going to come through this area of low volume. Again, talking a little bit more about the volume profile, the volume tools that I use. It would make sense to come through this area pretty quickly. Now, there's low volume here, but this is a pretty key level, or a set of 3 key levels: prior day high, overnight high, and value area high right here, from the 650 to the 646-ish. But we start to come through this low. I'm gonna wait for a move lower, and then watch what happens when we get down here, because this is now a quick pop to the upside, double top type of deal, and then a little bit of a continuation to the downside. A short play back to VWAP could be in store. Big candle like that, you could look short, stop above this area, and for a continuation to the downside. I'm not going to take that. It's very counter to the movement that we've had so far. I don't like to be that counter on the 1-minute chart here. We don't really have confirmation yet, at least for what I would look for, even though I don't love that word, of a break of something to the downside, but looks like we're going to try it. But what's up, guys in chat? Scared of the one-sided moves? Yep, can see that. Good morning, good morning. You are welcome for the invite. Happy to have you here. I'm going to behave like the guy at auctions. I see 1900s. Do I see 20,000s? Yeah. We're going to see. But pulling back down, sellers taking this thing lower. Buyers really lost steam up there. Didn't want to break like the 75s. Didn't want to break the 74s really. Tried it a second time and then shown a lot of weakness. This is not a bad short with a clean opportunity to the downside. Again, I'm not taking something like this because it's counter, right? It's kind of counter to what we've seen coming off of these lows and then what we've seen overnight so far and pre-market and into the NYSE session. It's just very counter to start trying shorts on structure like this. You know, for me, most of the time I look back and go, you know, what the hell were you looking to try to catch a top for if you were doing that? But we are now breaking the downside again. Let's see. Do we find buyers around this area anywhere in here? I think we could see a quick wick down. If I zoom out on the 1 minute, the real obvious area is right where VWAP is right now, right into the 30s. You know, mid to low 30s. Very, very clean area. Temporary volume point of control. Down near, why is my volume point of control so jacked up from yesterday? What happened there? It's interesting. Maybe coming off the 5-minute chart. Put it in a little bit different spot. Yeah, it did. It did. I'm going to have to make a decision on this. Let me know what the 15-minute looks like. Yeah, I'm going to go off the 5-minute. In any event, I'm going to wait for a pullback, see if we find some buyers down here. I'm not going to buy right into it. This isn't massive strength. I think we could really, you know, dip into that area of high volume. Again, if I zoom out on my 1-minute chart here and take a look at the visible range volume profile, this is a self-adjusting volume profile tool that sits on the right-hand side of the screen and shows you horizontally plotted volume. You could see it in price action, right? Is there a lot of trading that's been done here just based on the candles themselves? No, almost none. Is there a lot right here based on the candles themselves? Yes, and a lot of volume. It's not always shown completely in the candles because volume is different, right? We know candle is displaying price movements, you know, where price has done business, but how much business has been done at those levels. Volume can help you out with that. So temporary volume point of control way down here, like I said, mid to low 30s. VWAP sitting right at 33 for right now here on MES. But again, we have pretty strong levels above that. You know, areas that have been tested, key levels. So I could see a pullback and continuation. We're just going to wait I don't have a setup on this yet. Don't have a setup. Not a buy or a sell yet. So I'm going to hang tight. Take a look at the other markets. YM pulled back down, didn't really hit any important area, and is now finding some buyers. NASDAQ had a lot deeper of a pullback on that, and now is finding some buyers to the upside. That's looking looking like it's showing much more strength. Didn't quite hit VWAP, but got a lot deeper than ES. Yeah, this is a wait and see for me, guys. I don't have anything on this yet. No reason to get involved in this yet. Nothing yet. Let me help these guys out. Let's see what we get out of ES here, man. Again, not a whole lot happening on Bookmap outside of that level above. I'll show you guys my favorite order flow tool. Link will be in the description, and I'll throw it in the chat for you guys as well. This is Bookmap. This is level 2 data displayed on a nice, cool paid software here. The way that I like to use Bookmap is to zoom out a bit and look for really big standout levels on the book like this. We can see a lot of orders. We're sitting here. That's what we're looking at. Live orders on the book in real time, right? So resting buy and sell orders below and above price. The only thing that I'm really looking at standout outside of this algorithmic stuff, which I try not to pay attention to when I zoom out like this, is this stuff up here at the 93s. The 93s. It's not a massive amount, but if we started to approach that, breaking highs, that's an easy target. It's been sitting on there for a while. Down below price, step back down at the 50s, right at prior day high, overnight high, right around that level. We got some sitting on the book, decently thick to the downside, but nothing massive, right? No like massive 1,000-lot orders. You know, and that's me scrolling down without zooming out, so it starts to display it in a little bit of a different way. But yeah, nothing crazy outside of this above. That's not strong enough, and we're not showing enough in structure and price action to really trade towards that just yet. But that could be an area that we go and check out here on ES. So in any event, that is Bookmap. It's order flow. Helpful for me. I don't think you need to use Bookmap and order flow to be profitable. I think you can, just use whatever you want to use. But it's helpful for me to use that. It's been fun to use that in futures coming from Forex where I didn't have any of that information. This is interesting, man. Choppy structure after breaking above overnight high, prior day high, back and forth, trying to figure out if we want to break to the upside or go down. We came down and completely just by a tick or two broke this low. Have found buyers back and forth. I'm really not liking this price action, guys. This is kind of ugly. It's not super clear directionally, at least right now. Not clean break and retest structure. Not a strong rejection. Pulling up to an area, then consolidating back and forth. Right here, right now, it looks like we want to break. But if we turn to the downside from here, that's going to be just a nice clean move to the downside. So when I look at something and I think it can go either way from there really easily, that's an indication to not put a trade on. So I'm going to sit patient on this, see if we start to get some development. If we start breaking above, I may look for try to find a way in long on this. It's not going to be a great way to structure risk, right? Long from down here with a stop loss below this level would be a play way up to those 90s. If that was your idea that we are going to form a nice big bullish day. But this has just been too choppy. This has been just too back and forth. We had a nice clean push to the upside, and then for the last 25 minutes has just been kind of back and forth choppiness. So I'm not going to do anything on this yet. Waiting to see where we go from here. Trade setup could develop quickly, but need some structure, man. Need something. Give me something to work with here, ES. Just checking the other markets. Similar movements. This isn't super duper clean. Not super duper clean, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, it might be sitting patient on a Monday here. Listen, man, there's nothing wrong with this. If price doesn't give me setups, I don't go forcing trades, right? And although I'm trading on the 1-minute chart, and a lot of guys would consider what I do on here scalping, even though I have a little bit more aggressive definition for scalping. If there's not a setup, if there's just not something that presents itself for me and my system, my approach, even though it is discretionary, I don't go jumping into a trade, right? If the market's not doing what I am starting to expect it to do, and it's just kind of not giving me any direction or a good way to structure risk, I don't go just jumping into trades. Like, we all want to take trades. We all want to make progress. We all want to make money. If your edge isn't present, what the hell are you doing putting a trade on, right? You're just hoping and wishing that it goes in your favor and having no quantifiable, even if it's discretionary, through back testing and through journaling, way to say this is more likely to play out than not, or this gives me a good risk structure so I'm able to make money this way. There's been nothing here for me this morning yet. Nothing. I'm not going to buy breakouts to the upside in the first 2 minutes or 1 minute of the trading session. That's just not what I do. We had a continuation to the upside. This looked good. Buying for a 1-to-1 right over here. Maybe if I grabbed it like very aggressively up here, but even that could have been dicey and getting close to a stop out down here. Selling off of this to the downside, right, would have sucked because you'd be getting stopped out right now. And I'm not an anticipation of a range trader, even though this is a 1 minute range forming, where I'm just buying lows and selling highs arbitrarily. That's not how I trade. So continuation back up to these highs, but no follow through yet. What would I need to start to look for a trade? Pretty simple. Structure to the upside or structure to the downside. What would I be looking for first? Buys, right? Because we are above VWAP. We have structure to the upside. I'm not going to look for sells right off the bat as we break these lows, because I think it's really a strong possibility that we find some support. We find some buyers down here. I'd probably be waiting for this to happen and then wait for some structure to the upside to start looking for buys for maybe a continuation on this being a nice bullish day. So does any of that have to happen? No, of course not. But right here, right now, so far, nothing. I'd be really frustrated if I was involved with this, and you'd probably watch me take multiple stop outs. So I'm happy on a day like today so far that I can just keep myself patient and wait for something to happen. It's a very difficult thing to do, in my humble opinion. Especially if I'm here with you guys trading live. I want to put trades on, right? That's why I'm zoomed in to a degree on the 1 minute chart here on ES. I want to be able to demonstrate risk management and trade management, and just, you know, create this nice track record of live trading. But haven't had a lot of no trade sessions. Really have not had a lot of no trade sessions. Been taking actually multiple trades on each session through last week. But this is just not it. This is not it, guys, as the kids say. And I don't know that I'm going to get it. I'm not going to buy the breakout, right? I would have bought it right there. That would have sucked. I would maybe be buying it as we come back up again. That would have not been great. Gun to my head, like you said, you got to go one way or the other. I'm long, stop loss way down here, anticipating the continuation, but I don't like that trade at all because we didn't pull back after not breaking out multiple times and come and check this area out down near VWAP and a high volume area, right? We didn't come and check this area out. If we had a pullback down here and then aggressive buying pressure, I would have been finding my way in long for sure. Break to the upside, consolidation up here. It still looks like a nice move to the upside, like we want to break and continue to form a nice bullish candle on the day on the higher time frame, but not a setup, not something to trade off of for me. So for those reasons, I'm hanging tight. No trade so far. Preserve capital, right? Wait for a way to put it on and risk it for the biscuit when it comes. Be ready to enter aggressively. What's the Mark Douglas quote? Without reservation or hesitation. When your trade setup comes, enter without reservation or hesitation. No fear. But until then, don't do that. Don't enter for no reason. No. Aaron, what's up, brother? Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Aaron trades, everybody in the chat. Big time Topstep trader, and has his own platforms. Prop firm killer right there. Thanks for hopping in, Aaron. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. That'd be somebody great to follow along with if you guys are interested in another they're awesome trader. Yeah, man, just watching this thing kind of chop around the highs. Not giving me too much. Not giving me too much. Maybe we get that FOMC anticipation for this week. I don't like to pay too much to the I don't like to pay too much attention to the fundamentals and really form a strong bias to say, well, I don't think we're going to move until FOMC, so I'm not going to take any trades. You know, we're here on low time frames. We're going to find our setups, but it can be helpful to be aware of that before, you know, large news events like that. Sometimes we just get kind of choppy days, just a lot of consolidation, low volume, rangy movements. But we'll wait to see. Coming up on 10:30, we're going to have initial balance set, the first 1 hour of the trading session, 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Looks like we're going to want to crack that to the upside if we don't crack it like right here, right now. But again, just not really great structure for me, for my system. Good morning, Jess and Aaron. 100%, man. 100%. We'll hop on a stream together for sure. For sure. I'm going to, I'd love to join yours at some point, and I'm going to get set up, probably StreamYard, and we'll get some guests on this morning stream. Been doing this one consistently over the last few weeks. Back at it 9:30, and yeah, man, we'll get some guests on here coming up for you guys for sure. Caught a little early, looks choppy, building for something bigger. Yeah, man. Could be waiting, could be reloading, Rusty. We could be just chopping here, getting ready to blast off. Again, we do have some liquidity on Bookmap up above. Here's what I'm looking at on my favorite order flow tool, Bookmap. I use this in a very, very simplistic way. Very straightforward, basic way. Where do we have a big level of liquidity that maybe I'm not paying attention to on my chart? Today, not massive for ES, really. But this is what I'll be looking at. Up towards the 93s, 94s. To the downside, although it's being overlapped by some algorithmic stuff, it looks like we do have some sitting here right at the 65, 64 and a half-ish level. But outside of that, nothing major. Nothing major. So we crack to the upside. We really start breaking above session highs. We got some sitting right here at 85. But I'd be looking for a move up to the 93s, 94s based on Bookmap. But again, none of that strong enough to override. Here we go, selling off. None of that strong enough to override what I'm looking at on just basic price action and market structure and the volume tools on my candlestick chart. Choppy, very choppy. You know, my play is not to buy like this out of consolidation, right? That's not my play. I'm going to look for very, very simple break and retest style market structure, utilizing volume, utilizing key levels on my chart, utilizing VWAP, and combining that with order flow. This would not be that. This would just be a breakout of consolidation, stop loss below the level of below the range, below the consolidation, which is too wide for me to want to take, targeting a really large move to the upside when I think it's really likely that we find some sellers right here where we have, you know, quite a bit of sell orders on the book. So no trade on this so far, guys. I'm gonna hang with you a little while longer for sure. You know, see if we can't find something. We got our capital to trade, but nothing for me just yet. Taking a quick glance at markets on my second screen. Yeah, NQ kind of chopping around on the 5-minute. Very back and forth, choppy structure. Pretty similar to what we're seeing here. YM looks a lot cleaner to the upside. Dow usually living in its own world, so not really helping us out there either. But we'll hang tight on this one. See if we can't find something. $57.20. Rusty says $57.20. Yeah. Prior lows up here, right, Rusty? That's probably what we're looking at. We get through this level. We start breaking above this area. I think, yeah, we do have an opportunity to come through this very, very quickly. I would be cautious just of a quick pop up above here. Again, where I'm kind of looking at this liquidity on Bookmap. Looking at the depth of market. I think just a crack up here and then potentially some sellers found to bring us back down. But we start moving through this with aggression and we look to form a nice bullish candle today. Sure. Next area that I'd be looking is through this level of low volume, right? Through this just kind of quick back and forth price movement up to this area that's been tested multiple times before impulsive movements, what many would call support and resistance, supply and demand, order block. I'm just going to call it an area of interest. So yeah, up into the 20s, into the 30s, for sure, Rusty. If we really start moving to the upside, I think those could be targets. But I'd say getting through the 5700s, the 5690s would be first challenge. But yeah, man, this is choppy. This is choppy, boys and girls. Just not a lot of opportunity for me. Be right back, guys. I'm going to grab some water. Waiting to see us get way back down towards VWAP, or we start to break to the upside, and then even then, I'm going to be waiting for more structure. So nothing really setting up right off the bat. I'm not going to get water. Not on that movement. I'm not going anywhere. We got some sellers stepping in. That's looking a little bit wiggly, just reading momentum. We did come through that area right at the 65s on Bookmap where we had some liquidity. Not to yap about liquidity too much. We got some movement here, right? Just a read of momentum. We can see high volume printing just on traditional volume down on the bottom of our candlestick chart. It is visible on Bookmap as well. Now, are we just going to wick lower and then crack to the upside? This, this could be a movement out of consolidation that you are a little bit more confident taking, right? So if we get a movement like this where we kind of come down, take out buy orders down here, and maybe, stops for guys that are getting long up here multiple times, come back through this to the upside, that could give us a way to structure risk that's not all the way down below this area and be a little bit better of an opportunity. It still wouldn't be great in my humble opinion. Like, you're still not structuring risk down below these lows, but you could say, hey man, I'm going to get long on this now, anticipating this break to the upside if we can continue to find buying pressure back up through this area. But I'm not taking it. Something like that happens and then we really aggressively, like, immediately break back up to the upside, that could be a good way to structure risk and maybe a good trading opportunity. Again, that's just reading volume and momentum, right? Where we are just continuing to find buyers after we wick lower. That's kind of just a little bit of the discretion, intuition, but that's not happening so far. Coming back down on this. So not going to go anywhere just yet because it feels like we might start to move. Yeah, I don't know on this one. I really don't. This is just not good structure. First off, I never know with 100% accuracy, but this is just not great structure for me. Choppy. I said gun to my head earlier, I'm long. Gun to my head now, I'm short. This just looks like sellers want to take this thing lower, back towards VWAP. Gun to my head, I'm short back to prior day high, overnight high, value area high. Past that would be temporary volume point of control down here. Prior day, regular trading session hours, volume point of control, and the obvious area on this visible range volume profile, which is also temporary, right? It continues to adjust as I move around and display more price action. But that's what I'll be looking at, gun to my head, short out of this area. Not taking it, right? I don't like to trade breakouts from consolidation. Why? Why not, right? What's the answer here? This is rangy. This is an area of consolidation, right? A nice, clean, tight range. We're testing the highs without breaking above and testing the lows. Oftentimes, what we get, which if you go back and back test or just watch the chart for long enough, if we're going to break higher, oftentimes we crack the lows first and then break out. And oftentimes, if we're going to break lower, we crack the highs first and then break out to the downside. So I don't like to trade breakouts from it, and I obviously don't like to trade from the middle of it. I'm not a range trader who buys off the lows and sells off the highs, so not a lot of opportunity until we get outside of it, form some additional structure, and then maybe have a trade. But again, gun to my head, short after that wick lower, and then sellers taking it back in, back down to this area right here, and or back down to this area right here. What happens when we get down here now? I'm interested to watch. Yeah, I think we're going to come through the 50s back down to the 30s, mid 30s, mid to low 30s. That's what I'm expecting here. VWAP down here. Again, let me zoom out again, kind of show you what this volume profile looks like on the 1 minute if I zoom out, which is not really that zoomed out. I think we come back down and check this out. But again, man, appreciate you guys being on, hanging out with me. I gotta fix that. I got my Discord bot telling everybody live YouTube starting now. It's 10:30. Oh, daylight savings time is what happened with that. That makes sense. MEE6. I gotta fix that bot. But yeah, guys, appreciate you being on here. It's been awesome. Awesome to get back to streaming with you guys really consistently. Great group. I see a lot of the same names, a lot of the same guys calling out levels, calling out trades. Plenty of guys from Discord. If you're not in the 100% free Discord, we'd be more than happy to have you there. Not a VIP feeder program. Just talking trading, man. Answering questions, talking about my trading. Guys sharing the good, the bad, everything in between. If you want to chat here next time you're new, hit subscribe. You can chat for next time. And outside of that, I'm actually just going to drop this one. I redid my website so I can actually not send 47 links. Here's all the links. This way I won't clog the chat up. RealDealFutures.com. That's all my links. Rusty's looking at the 49 to 73 range. I'm out until range breaks. Already green. No reason to trade more. Yeah, brother. I see it. I see that. This is choppy, man. This is choppy. This is tough. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this because I'm interested to see what happens when we get down here. I could consider a bounce off this. Let me grab some water real quick, guys. I'll be right back. Back in action with you guys. Not a lot. Sitting down around the lows of this range. Not a lot of action, man. This is whack price action. That's my technical term for this. This price action is hella whack, guys. There's not a lot of opportunity on this Monday. At least for me. If you're a range trader, maybe you are cleaning up. But I'm really not loving this. So I'm gonna hang out with you guys. Again, I think if we break to the downside, I would look for a buy, right? Like I think my only trade on this today would be a buy out of these 30s, right? I think even if we are going to break lower, after we held up here for so long, we started to create this area of high volume. I could take a buy out of a crack below VWAP for continuation, a bounce play, and maybe we were on the wrong side, the right side of it, and it just rips to the upside. But even if we're on the wrong side of it, I just don't think it's so likely that we just rip our faces off to the downside. Now, we certainly can. And gun to my head up here, I'm short, like I said, but that's probably the only thing I would look at. I don't know how aggressive I would want to be if it starts to come down like really harshly. We do have VWAP, kind of now coming out of this area of high volume. Yeah, here we go to hit the 50s. So yup. I may try bounce play out of here. Not out of here, out of here. Way down by VWAP, into the 30s. You know, stop loss 10 to 12 points away. Looking for a bounce back up to this area. That's what I'm eyeballing right now, guys. Would probably go pretty light on risk on this. Probably gonna be like a couple micros. Yeah, I would take an aggressive buy out of this area. It might be something that I'd have to run. Like, it's not a lot of volatility today, but it's probably something that I'd want to run a little bit wider of a stop loss, right? I'm not going to wait for a lot of buying pressure if we come into this. So I'm never going to, you know, maybe never, but I'm typically not going to catch the low of the move. So if I'm going to buy something really aggressively as we are selling off, looking for a continuation to the upside, I better run a wide enough stop loss to allow for, you know, the price to continue to move a little bit. But I would look for an aggressive buy out of the 30s. But we might not come down here. You know, we might just, this might be it. We swipe the bottom of this, you know, zone, right? This consolidation area, this range. And we just get close to overnight high, prior day high, value area high, like we talked about. And then we just blast off to the upside. That might be it. Conversely, we start to form like more structure to the downside, like instead of just kind of wicking lower, like I thought we might do right there, and we kind of just start to do this. I'm not gonna buy. I'm not gonna buy into a low time frame trend to the downside. I'm gonna buy into high time frame. Oh, excuse me, still low time frame, but structure, consolidation, wick lower, and then maybe some high volume and a little bit of buying pressure. Something steps in on the way down here. I'm long on that to the upside. But I don't think I'm gonna get it, man. I don't think I'm gonna get this, which is okay, right? You know, it's no opportunity is no opportunity. No good way to structure risk. I'm not getting long up here with a stop loss at VWAP, you know, and an area of high volume that I would look to long. That's not an invalidation point for me, you know, for this move to the upside. This is interesting. Yeah, this is tough, because now if we pull this and we come back down through these lows, it's not as much. It's just not clean structure to the upside anymore. Now it's going to be more downtrend structure. So I'm going to wait and see. We'll kind of continue to analyze this together. I'll give you my 2 cents, my analysis, what I'm looking at. But this for me is not what I like to trade. This is not, you know, a beautiful market that's presenting a lot of opportunities and direction. It's a lot of chop back and forth price action. That's what I'm looking at this as. Like 15-minute. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. But hang out with you guys for a little bit longer. We'll kind of see if something forms. 1040. Yeah, we got initial balance, low down here. I'm not going to mark it. I got too many lines on my chart these days. The highs would be highs of sessions, you know, right up here where I have this high from last week. But I don't like this. Don't like it. Not a fan. Wait for something to develop. Until then, sip sparkling water with our pinkies out and and see what the market has for us. If you guys got questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. We can talk about anything trading related that you like. Hey Zach, I've been thinking if we could set up anchored VWAP from places where prices pivoted. Maybe that would help in making decisions. Have you tried to consider that? Yeah. I watch. So good example was I just was trading live on Topstep TV with Coach Jay, who's a great trader, and they were looking at a high volume, really high volume pivotal candle on the 3-minute chart, anchored a VWAP to that. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. You could anchor VWAPs to specific times, important times of the session, like I do, which would be 9:30 a.m. prior day session, 9:30 a.m. from the prior day. You can also anchor to pivotal points, right? News candles, big tops and bottoms on higher time frames or even on lower time frames, or just temporary highs and lows, right? So like as we are trading here, this is maybe the most recent low. You might say on a low time frame, I'm anchoring a VWAP here, and this can help in strong trending markets to get you into and out of trades. And from this low, I know that as long as price is above this, buyers are in control. Buyers are holding price above the average volume weighted average price from this time frame, from this low that's put in the market. So sure, absolutely, you can utilize anchored VWAPs that way. I think it can be very helpful. I like it in trending markets. Like if I'm going to do something like this, I like it on trending markets where it will help you get into a trade, kind of similar to a trend line, like looking for bull and bear flags. So like right here, let's say you anchored one to the top. Again, this is coming into NYSE session, but similar to the way a trend line would look to get you in as you broke above, you could look to buy as you maybe get breaks and closes above an anchored VWAP anchored to an important high, right? Because now we have sellers losing control, buyers stepping in control, taking us above a key VWAP and moving to the upside. So yeah, I love anchored VWAP. If you want to learn more about it, the godfather of the anchored VWAP is Brian Shannon. He has a book. Alpha Trends is his brand name platform, but Brian Shannon, you can find him all over. And that book is the Bible for anchored VWAP, in my opinion. If you want to learn a whole lot about it, build confidence in it. Not exactly in a range like this, but when it's forming higher lows and lower lows. Yeah, absolutely. Again, absolutely, man. I think the benefit of a tool like that is it can be really straightforward and objective, but it's also dynamic to the price and the way market structure and price action is forming on that day. And along with that, more so than just a trend line break, right? It incorporates volume, which I'm a big fan of. You can tell by everything on my chart being a volume tool, and most of my levels having to do with volume. So I like it. I like it for those reasons. Again, I think just anchored VWAP breaks of highs and lows can be really cool to trade. Really interesting points on the chart. And also, not just highs and lows, anchored VWAPs anchored to key time frames, key candles, right? News candles, specific times, right? To starts of sessions, end of sessions, to end of day, beginning of NYSE session. I really like it there, right? A lot of volume comes in. That's a key point where we have a change in kind of what's going on for the overall daily candle that's printing. It can be helpful to understand what's the volume weighted average price starting at that point. Who's the control, buyers or sellers? Where are we in relation to that outside of just the standard session VWAP, which resets at the close of the daily session and then comes back on. So yeah, anchored VWAPs are sweet, man. Really sweet. Again, I try to limit how much I have on my chart just because it becomes so overlapping. And for me, I'm paying most attention to price action and market structure, and then volume tools, which anchored VWAPs would fall into that. But I already have VWAP on my chart. I've added a couple different levels that I keep like really, really like easy on the eyes, like dotted lines that are almost like dark gray, so they really don't overlay much. But I try to be cautious with how much I have in my chart. So, and I'm honestly paying attention more to volume profile, visible range volume profile, and again some volume profile stuff from prior days, because I find that just really helps me with direction and structuring trades. I love the way price moves within this volume, and it also complements order flow really, really well, right? So I'm kind of more heavily focusing on volume profile, order flow combination, utilizing my key levels, and not so many VWAP and anchored VWAP overlays on my chart. But yeah, anchored VWAP is sweet. Again, shout out Brian Shannon. I would go and read his stuff. He has videos on it. The book that everybody knows, it's that like crazy yellow and orange looking book. But yeah, all about finding something that you can build confidence in and, use in a way to structure risk and have some repeatability in the market. Yeah, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up here. There's nothing here for me. It's going to move eventually, but I'm getting to the high end of my patience and, how much longer I really want to wait. We didn't get a really aggressive, and along with that, I'm just not going to have a setup. We didn't get a really aggressive wick lower here and buying pressure forming and then a push up. We came down, we checked this area out, then pulled back up here. Then maybe we start to break and form downtrend structure, and we kind of just end up being a choppy day overall, where we come and check out the lows of NYSE sessions. So I'm just not liking this structure. I don't find it to be very clear directionally, and I just don't have a trade. Again, not common recently for me not to have no trade sessions, but I'll have them, man. I'll have them, consecutively if there's nothing for me. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I appreciate you guys being here with me. I'm going to get some scalping into the afternoon on NQ. Going to be talking more about that coming up. I've mentioned it a handful of times. I've posted some results and stuff. But be trading some Tradeify accounts doing that. Maybe putting a trading day in on these Topstep accounts. I got to see what sets up. This is ugly. But in any event, appreciate you guys being here. Hit like, hit subscribe, join the free Discord, check the last link that I posted, which has all of my links. It's my main website now, realdealfutures.com. It's been my main website for forever, actually. But I redid that, so it's just my links. I'll see you guys here live every day, 100% free, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, trading NYSE Open, straight from my platform, showing you what real trading looks like, which is sometimes a no-trade session. And whole bunch of other fun stuff coming up. Hop in the community. I got a bunch of stuff coming up, guys. Giveaways and a whole lot more opportunities that I am hyped to bring your guys' way. Next couple weeks are going to be awesome. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice, not a suggestion or recommendation to do anything. I'm just an idiot from YouTube yapping about trading. Read the full disclaimer below this video. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts. And the affiliate and partnerships disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links in my content. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks again for being here. I will see you tomorrow.